Morning. It's Saturday, June 1st. And yesterday, when I was trying to put this rant together, searching through the news was very difficult to find a topic that wasn't about Trump. Now, I know it was very important that Trump was convicted. That's right, convicted. And it's very important to watch what's going on with him, but he dominates the news. But in any event, I searched hard and I found something that I think is important. Something that's been going on for years. And this involves the war in the Ukraine and the change of U.S. policy that could be very, very important. Now, the Ukraine war started over 2 years ago. And since that time, the U.S. is a major supplier of arms to Ukraine in its fight against Russia. But all of the time that we have given them these arms and missiles and whatever else we sent to them, we always sent it with restrictions so that Ukraine couldn't do the maximum amount of damage to Russia that the weapons that we were sending could do. It seems right now that President Biden has given permission to Ukraine to carry out limited strikes inside Russian territory using American munitions. Now, this is a break from where we stood up to this point in time. And it seems to me that if we really wanted Ukraine to win this war and end it quickly, we could have given them permission to do whatever they're going to do now 2 years ago. And maybe this thing would have been settled at that. So right now, Biden has given permission to carry out limited strikes inside Russian territory. So that basically means that Ukraine is restricted to hitting targets that are over the border close to Kharkiv. That's because Russia had made significant advances around that particular city in the northeastern part of the Ukraine, and it's close to the Russian border. So U.S. has restricted Ukraine from going deep into Russia, and not even deep, creeping into Russia. It's time to release the whole damn thing and get this war won. Now, I'm not sure why Biden made this decision, but I am sure that our allies have been pressuring the U.S. to change their position on the way to fight this war. So the loosening of these restrictions marks a break from the long-standing policy and is because of the international pressure that was put on the U.S. by its close allies. But still, it's limited to an area around Kharkiv, and Ukraine has not even requested permission to go beyond that, because I'm afraid that Zelensky, if he adds pressure to the U.S. and Biden might say, we're not giving you anything. So Zelensky can't fight this war the way he might want to because of how he's tied to the U.S. coattails, so to speak. And of course, officials in Ukraine recognize the fact that the U.S. is not about to wide area of attack anytime soon. And I am sure that part of the U.S. consideration is the fact that Russia has nuclear weapons. And Ukraine gave up all their nuclear weapons when they separated from Russia, for whatever reason that was. But the mere fact that Russia has nuclear weapons and that Putin is an unstable character in the real world, and he might do anything crazy to increase the world's vision of him as a great leader, so to speak, not a crazy emperor, So that has to be in the back of the minds of the U.S., and it's probably in the back of Zelensky's mind, too, that Russia is just sitting on a pile of nuclear weapons, and anything could set them off in that direction. It's a scary, scary situation because that would affect huge quantities of the world. So when you're looking at the big picture, so to speak, we can understand why the U.S. administration is standing firm in not allowing Ukraine to use our most formidable munitions against Russia. Because those long-range missiles can hit targets over 200 miles away. And that would be a big, big plus if Ukraine were allowed to do that. Maybe just one time. But then we're looking at a madman like Putin, as I said before, who has nuclear weapons, and he's liable to do something deadly to the whole world. Now, the Ukraine has been allowed to use U.S. anti-aircraft weapons to take down Russian aircraft flying in both the Ukrainian and the Russian airspace. And it has been very successful using that equipment. But even though they've gotten permission to do that, they are still prohibited from targeting Russian aircraft that's on the ground inside of Russia. Because that would also kind of break through the barrier that the U.S. has established in fearing the Russian nuclear armament. So now that the U.S. has changed its position somewhat on how much it will allow Ukraine to do, we must always recognize that we cannot push too much over the line because Russia has a nuclear arsenal and Putin is not the sanest person in the world. Now, what's very interesting is that France and Germany have also supplied Ukraine with long-range missiles. But they have categorically said Ukraine can use those missiles to attack inside Russia. So we have the U.S. saying no, but we have France and Germany saying, yes, go ahead, use our missiles. Blow the hell out of those Russian cities and everything. It's not fair to fight a limited battle in the eyes of Germany and France. So why don't we jump on board and agree with them? Why are we holding back what could be a victorious Ukraine? I don't have the answer to that question. It just seems strange that all the allies that are helping Ukraine fight this war don't have the same plan of action. Why don't all of them get together and decide what is the final approach? I mean, the risk of Russia using a nuclear weapon is the same for every one of those nations. And in fact, Germany and France are sitting right on top of this situation. Yet they are not afraid. They have given permission to go in and beat the hell out of Russia. Why don't we follow their examples? So that's it for today. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you in the morning. Bye.